Hi, I hope you're well. It is October 4th and I'm so excited about an idea that I've just had. I feel like I can literally barely even get the words out because there's so much I want to say about this topic. And anyway, for some context, today I woke up at 5:30 and went to my gym class, which was really good. Then I got home and I was just feeling really tired, really unmotivated. Steve was like, maybe you should have had, just looking at me was like, maybe you should have had a rest day today. You just look, I wanted to set on my camera differently. I keep calling this a camera. It's actually an iPhone. And yeah, so basically I was just like, not feeling great, and Steve was like, you probably should have had a rest, you just look really exhausted. So I was like, oh, anyway, did my normal stuff, read my book for 30 minutes. I'm reading, what's it called? Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, which is really great. And then I did my personal development work in Brooke Castillo's course, Self-Coaching Scholars, which I'm doing at the moment and obsessed with, and I ended up doing that for about an hour and a half. Sometimes it's hard for me to justify the time that I'm spending, but then when I think about it, I'm like, this is the most important thing I'm going to be doing today. I can do all these other busy work tasks. They're not all busy work, but I can do other things, or I can do this and change my mindset, which will make everything else easier. So I've really been pouring a lot of time into all of that stuff, which I can feel itself paying off. So I did the normal daily stuff, and then I went back to do a bit more of her, this is sunscreen by the way, a bit more of her money course about, the whole not trading time for money sort of thing. If you haven't heard much about money mindset, then even that will probably blow your mind. But yeah, just doing that to get my money mindset in order so that I can run a successful business, because money is a big part of business, obviously. So I've spoken about money and money mindset stuff in a few other videos, so I'll link that below. But anyway, I was doing that, and then after I was just like, she talks a lot about creating value and that money is just a reflection of your contribution, and it's basically just a scorecard, and the reason you make money is to contribute, and people it's important to be open to receiving, because it's like if you give someone a gift, say you gave someone a gift at Christmas but you didn't let them give you anything, they want to give you a gift. And it's the same thing with money. Some things we love spending money, and I feel like I've been closed off to receiving money, because in my mind I've been I'm not deserving of money, or all of that kind of thing. So anyway, working on those beliefs. But I just sat down and I was like, what can I do that would be really helpful? What is something that I get asked all the time and I have an answer to, and I'm not sharing it the best way that I could? So as soon as I thought about that, I've already put some of my makeup on, as you can see. I've just been feeling like I really want to be back into my winged liner, which I was doing every day, but it's hard to do when I'm on video. So I've just been putting that on before. Still quite fake tanned, so I'm using my darker foundation. Oh, I forgot to wear my beauty blender. Anyway, so the first thing that came to mind was that I get so many questions about blogging, and I kind of just, I give an answer, but I never really go too into it, and not the technical side of blogging. And I've talked about this before. I'm really adamant that I don't want to turn into a blogger that blogs about blogging. I'm really, really determined not to do that. I want to talk about personal development. But so I've always shut the door on anything blogging related for me to create. I do talk about it, but not very much. So anyway, I was just when I was doing this brainstorming, I wasn't doing it in what do I want to create, and what I was just what would be helpful. I get so many emails basically every day about like, what's your blogging advice? I'm scared to start a blog. When there's obviously a lot of people who give great blogging advice already. And so often, like, all the people that email me because of my blog and the stuff I talk about, a lot of these people have an all or nothing mindset, or a lot of you guys have an all or nothing mindset, in that, like, you suffer, I don't want to say suffer, oh, it kind of is suffering. Like, you have the perfectionist fixed mindset, which is like, everything you do is evidence of how, if you're good enough or not. So we only want to do things we're good at, but it means we often spend a lot of time procrastinating and a lot of time not improving ourselves because we're scared it won't be enough. So we'd rather just live in this world of like, if I try my hardest, then I'd be good, instead of like trying and being willing to see what happens. So I get a lot of questions about blogging, and as I was saying, I'm really adamant that I'm not going to be a blogger who blogs about blogging. I want to blog about personal development. But I always say that blogging is like the best personal development tool there is. And I didn't even realize I was a perfectionist until I started blogging, because it just shows you all of your beliefs. Like, when you start a big thing like that, especially when it's something that requires you to be vulnerable, you're putting something out into the world, no one's giving you permission to do it, and you're saying this is worth your time. That'll bring up your any limiting beliefs you have. So for me, I have found blogging just to be such an amazing personal development tool. It's how I really got so into it when I started blogging, and then I was already into it and fascinated by it, but it was only when I started that I realized I even had that mindset. Like, I just wasn't even aware of it until I really tried to put myself out there. And I was like, oh my God, why did I just post a blog post and then delete it? And I was just super scared. I was scared of what people would think. I just had so much self-doubt. And yeah, I get emails all the time asking about that. I've written a blog post about the fears I had before I started blogging and why I started anyway, which I will link. And so many people have been like, oh my God, I can totally relate to this. No one's writing about this. There are a million courses about how to start a blog. I have not seen one that addresses the self-doubt mindset, like the self-doubt and fear that comes up when you are vulnerable and put yourself out there. It's all technical, like, here's how to choose between WordPress and Squarespace. Like, all of that's fine, but it's dealing with the mindset that that I've found is talking about, especially the mindset in relation to perfectionism, which is all or nothing thinking, fear of judgment, rejection, failure, all of that stuff. So yeah, I was just like, oh, that's such an obvious thing that I could talk about and share that I haven't. And I have so much to say about the topic, because I always talk about it, actually. And I talk a lot about, you know, getting started and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so many of you guys email me, as I was saying, and ask me for blogging advice. And really, I think often when people ask me for advice, like, they're just scared, and they're asking me when they could just start, and it's just like a way to procrastinate. And that's totally okay. There's no need to beat ourselves up for procrastination. But yeah, like this morning, I was just feeling really like blah. Like, I was like, oh, should I record my podcast today? I was planning to record it today. And then this morning, I was like trying to negotiate with myself. I was like justifying it. It's so sneaky, all the excuses we can have. I was like, oh, I'm not even like in a good chatty mood today anyway, so it's not going to be good, when that's just, you know, totally an excuse. So anyway, I had this idea, and then I was like, oh my God, that would be so helpful, because I get so many questions and I just give such a brief answer, because I've been determined not to be a blogger who blogs about blogging, but I have missed out on helping so many people that ask me about that stuff. And it's really nothing to do with blogging. It's all about mindset and personal growth and all of that, which is what I'm definitely interested in talking about. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do the podcast episode today about it, like about my experience. I spoke about it in my first episode, but I'm going to really go into it. I really have the feeling this podcast episode 3, which will actually be being released on the day this vlog comes out, so I'll link it. Or maybe it's the day before. Anyway, it should be out by the time you're watching this, so I'll link it. And I feel like this podcast episode could go for like 3 hours because I have so much to say about it. There are so many different things that come up when we want to start blogging. I don't have enough time. I don't know like technical things about it. I don't know what to write about. Like there's all a lot of confusion, and the confusion is fear that we'll write it and no one will listen, fear that we'll write it and people will laugh, feel that they'll start a blog, and like there's just so many fears. Like no one will listen, people will listen and they'll laugh, people will listen and they'll love it, and we'll feel the pressure to stay up to that high standard. Like it's funny how you can have a fear that it can go right and a fear that it can go wrong at the same time. A fear that your life will change because of it, a fear that you won't have the time, a fear that focusing on your blog means removing focus from something else in your life. Like there's so much fear and self-doubt, and it's funny because I'm super excited about this idea right now. Tomorrow, I guarantee you, and I'll talk about it tomorrow or the next day, either tomorrow or the next day, my brain is going to be filled with self-doubt about this idea that I'm so excited about right now. Literally like clockwork. As the excitement wears off today, my brain kind of gets used to this idea that I could be really helpful, and I can feel it already kicking in of like, but will people actually want it? Even though I know they want it because they ask for it all the time. And this would be something as well that I'll be having as like a paid offer. So it'd be either a course or some kind of like ebook or something like that. I don't know yet. But I will also be sharing, as always, a lot of stuff for free, like my podcast. But even for either, just tomorrow I'll be like, do I want to talk about this? I don't want to be a blogger who blogs about blogging. Like all of that stuff will come up. I'm just putting bronzer everywhere, even though I'm already quite bronzed from my fake tan. I still need to get myself a proper bronzer. This one is not great at all. But you deal with what you have. So yeah, I'm super excited. As you can probably tell, I'm talking a lot more quickly than I do in most of my podcasts. Most of my videos like this. And I was like, had this idea. I was like going through all the comments. I wrote that blog post a few years ago, literally 2 years ago, and I was reading all the comments and I was like, oh my God, so many things I can talk about in this podcast. It's like I have to literally start recording it right now. And then I was like, I gotta go do my makeup because I've been filming them and I like just having them with my makeup on. And then I was like, I should probably do my daily vlog now because I have so much talking energy and this is such a good time to share it because you're seeing the excitement now. You will see the doubt probably tomorrow or the next day, and that's exactly what the course would be about, or the book, or I don't know what it would look like. If you have any thoughts, please comment below. Yeah, it's basically would be like how to get started mentally, because I've gotten really good at feeling the fear and doing it anyway, and that's what I want to share. And also just like what the roller coaster looks like, which I am sharing through these daily vlogs. But like, I think when we look on social media, or I know I find myself doing it, I look at social media and I see on Instagram all of these amazing bloggers and influencers and YouTubers, and I think like, oh, like it must be so easy for them. Like and put them on a pedestal so that I can have a pity party over here, when really I know it's equally as hard for them. They have the mental battles as well, and all of us feel negative emotion about 50-50 with positive. And a lot of us, or if you don't, you're probably avoiding it with eating or working or drinking or something like that. But it's part of being human, and we don't want it. But it'd just be, yeah, I don't know, just sharing what I've learned, because it's probably the biggest thing I've learned. Like, I am actually still shocked I even have a blog and I have a podcast and a YouTube channel, because the self-doubt that I experienced was so crippling that I never thought I could ever overcome it. So to now have overcome it, and when I say overcome, I mean it's still there, but I don't procrastinate. That has been like the biggest thing I've learned in the last 4 years. I started my blog 4 years ago, and there's so many of you that have such amazing, insightful things to share, and also just like sharing your process. Like, this is just me documenting what I'm doing day to day. Everyone can do it. There's like, I'm not any better than you. There's no reason that people would watch me and they wouldn't watch you. Like, there are so many things that you guys say that I'm like, oh my God. Especially some of my emails, I'm like, this girl needs a blog or needs something, some way to share this with other people. And one of the fears as well is there are already too many blogs. Someone's already said that. Like, what I've learned is, like, people come for you. People don't ask me for blogging advice because they can't find it anywhere else. They ask me because something about me makes them want to ask me. It's not like, and I know I hate like the advice of just be yourself. I don't hate it, but I feel like it just is almost like too simple to be helpful, but then it is probably the best advice. But just really appreciating this year that, like, as I am now, I can really help, and what I'm doing is interesting, not because it's unique, but part of the reason it's interesting is because it probably looks a lot like your life, and all the things you think and all of that. So yeah, and not everyone can relate to it because we're all different, but we're all really similar. And yeah, so I'm really excited. I better actually start doing the podcast now because I'm going to run out of time before I go to work, and I'm really excited to be chatting about it. I feel like it's going to go on and on and on, but good thing I love long podcasts, so I'm not going to be making it short just to fit in with what we're told a good podcast episode length is. I like them long, so I'm going to make it long if it makes sense. So yeah, that's all for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow, when no doubt the self-doubt will have begun to creep its way into my mind. Bye!